Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. I'm sorry I was abruptly cut off the last time I did this. I was very busy. Unfortunately, I don't get paid to do this, so I'm afraid everything else in life comes first. Um, right, and then the controller died. Anyway, yeah, hit the subscribe button if you want to see more of this, and it'll obviously get better, and you'll get better footage and better stuff the more you subscribe. So, World Cup today. We're going to do a couple of different videos today because we've got stuff at different times. Ideally, live, I want to cover at least two of the matches. There's one I don't think I'm going to be able to cover, which is sad. It's just sad because it's one of the games I was most excited about, and that's the first one of the day, which is France versus Australia. Why am I excited? Because if you were tuned in yesterday, you would have heard that I predicted would beat France would beat Australia 5-2, and having seen that the last time the two sides met, the French won 6-0 back in 2013. I won't say it gives me confidence or courage, but it does show that the French don't have some kind of hidden weakness against the Australians that has plagued them from the past. Because believe me, little demons like that seem to have massive effects on players' mentality, and really makes you question just how manly most of these guys are, to be completely honest. Oh, we're in a fish. That's good. That's good. Right, so we are going to talk about first France versus Australia, the 4-2 result that I see happening. Well, I don't think anyone's really surprised that Tim Cahill is not in the starting 11 for Australia, because he is pretty old now. He must be very close to 40 if I'm not mistaken. But he's on the bench. The legend is on the bench, and that's what matters. As long as Tim Cahill is in the picture for Australia, that's a guaranteed goal, I think, today. Um, Whether or not he'll be the one to score it, I think is a completely different question. Um, I look at the lineup, and I see a good Australian side. I definitely see goals from Aaron Mooy and Tim Cahill. I definitely do. I don't know why specifically them, but I have a great deal of respect for a couple of them. And looking at the French team, it looks like they're only taking them half seriously. Um, they've got a very strong attack lined up to face them, pretty solid midfield, and a kind of a questionable defence for the French. Pavard on right back, Theo Hernandez, the Real Madrid youngster, in left back, Varane, Umtiti centre backs. I mean, yeah, Varane obviously, but Umtiti, I still think he's seriously overrated, Barcelona player or not. I think he's got a lot to prove, particularly to me. Corentin Tolisso, N'Golo Kante, and Paul Pogba, the three midfielders, Kylian Mbappe, Antoine Griezmann, and Ousmane Dembele up front. So it looks like a 4-3-3 from the French. So they're going to try and attack the hell out of the Australians. So I'm sticking with my 4-goal prediction for them. As for the goal scorers, I think I'm going to go for Mbappe, Griezmann, Dembele, and Giroud. I think Giroud will come on and probably score, because that's the only thing he can do in his career. And I just don't see the Australians being able to cope with it for very long. The second game, which I reckon I'm probably going to get live for you later on today, is Peru-Denmark. There was a lot of controversy over Peru's main striker, Paulo Guerrero. He failed a drugs test and tested positive for cocaine, and was banned from international football for 16 months. So they weren't going to allow him to compete in the World Cup until he stuck to his innocence for a whole year. that he was innocent, and he maintained that he got the contaminated result from drinking tea. And we all thought this was a completely bizarre excuse. However, the most incredible thing happened to get him into the World Cup. Let me explain. A couple of months ago, scientists up in the Falklands, I believe, close to the Falklands, found mummies at high altitude preserved, perfectly preserved. They were hundreds of years old. They reckon they were about 300 years old. These perfectly preserved human beings. And they did, of course, as scientists do, many, many tests. And it's interesting how they linked it up with this footballer. Because obviously maintaining the innocence with the tea, they actually talked to these people, because a massive cure for altitude sickness in South America is cocaine leaves. It's true. They have it in their tea all the time. I believe they're called coca leaves, not like chocolate leaves. Coca, COCA leaves, and that's what gave him the positive cocaine test. And it was definitely proven that that's what he was given in his tea. They tested his urine, and his urine showed the consistency as if it had been drunk, not as if it had been taken recreationally, as everyone had thought. So thanks to the research of mummies that were 300 years old, this striker is getting to participate in the World Cup. How fucking bizarre is that? Like, literally last week, this guy wasn't going to be there, but because of these 300-year-old mummies that they've brought into the argument, he is getting to go to the World Cup. Yeah. I'll explain it to the missus after this, because she is also equally as confused. Probably are. It is very bizarre, but when you see Peru play today, by all means, if you see Guerrero, then you will realize how much it means to him to be there. And personally, I hope the lad can score a goal. I think with all that controversy, I think to bang in a goal in the World Cup, in your first World Cup, is definitely the way to do it. Because Peru worked so hard to get there, and they really deserve a result. Having said that, let's talk about the Danish. And I was right, the young striker Kasper Dolberg is Danish, so we do have him to watch out for. But here's the guy we need to watch out for. We need to watch out for the Danish talisman. He plays for Tottenham. You've probably heard his name many times before, Christian Eriksen. Christian Eriksen has scored 16 goals in 18 games for Denmark. That is nearly 100% goal scoring record in the qualifiers and the build up to the World Cup. Denmark are on fire, and I think, despite this romantical story about Peru, I think the Danish are going to wipe them out, but not thoroughly. I don't think the Danish have the do I say the balls? Yeah, well, we'll say the balls. I don't think they have the balls to attack like a team like the Swedish do. All the Scandinavian teams have such a unique way of playing, the Finnish and the Norwegians don't play it very well. And the Swedes and the Danish definitely take football to a different level compared to the other two nations in Scandinavia. But I think Christian Eriksen is the difference in this game. I see him walking away with perhaps a free kick goal and an assist. I definitely see at least 2 goals being scored Denmark's way. I want to see that goal for Guerrero. I want to see Peru do well. I think a 3-2 or a 3-1 result, I think, would be suitable given the circumstances. I think if Peru were to win, massive upset. I think if they were to draw, Peru will take that any day of the week. But Denmark will be playing to win, because this is a game they should be winning. No, it's not just statistics. It's form. It's It's the players themselves. It's just the way, just the whole build-up coming into the World Cup. It just starts with the qualifiers. You get a rough grasp about who's going to be really hard to beat, and of course, so far, the teams that proved they would be hard to beat have already proved that, particularly Spain and Portugal yesterday. So that's going to be quite a result. I think that's going to be quite a match. Also, in between, because I just gave you the two matches for Group C, that's not the only group on today. The other group is Group D. And one of the matches will happen between the French and Danish matches. Given the time of it, I think it's very unlikely I'm going to be able to broadcast this one because it's bang on 2 o'clock. I might miss the first half.
You'll get that one. If it starts at 2, you'll get that one.
Maybe, but we'd still have to set up the console and everything again. Well, we'll see. I personally want to bring it to you. I would love to bring you Argentina versus Iceland, because this is when it gets interesting. Leo Messi had a serious point to prove coming into this after losing the World Cup final against Germany 4 years ago, and after losing, was he in the final or the semi-final of the American Copa, or whatever it's called, the South American equivalent of the Euros, whatever that's called. He lost that as well to Chile or Brazil. He has not won an award with the national team with Argentina. And people so far are arguing the main players who are in contention for the Ballon d'Or are Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi, and Mohamed Salah. I think if Mohamed Salah doesn't get to play, just like he did yesterday, there's no way he will win the Ballon d'Or. I think Cristiano Ronaldo just added another reason why he should win it with that hat-trick yesterday. Because, brief moment to talk about that, one of the best games of football I have ever watched. Not just from a one-man perspective, because I've never seen one guy hold back Spain. Like that factor alone was brilliant, but it was the fact that all three of the Spanish goals were brilliant, and because the Portuguese held them, they knew how the Spanish played. They were ready for the Spanish. The Spanish had to pull out every single tool in their arsenal. I mean, Sergio Busquets, the guy who's never hit a long ball in his life, gets a 60-yard assist for Diego Costa's first goal. Nuts. It's crazy when you think about it. Costa, of course, brilliant yesterday as well. But yes, going back to Messi, the reason the pressure is now on Messi, it's not just to win something with Argentina, but Cristiano Ronaldo, before yesterday, had been in 3 World Cups, right? And he had scored 3 goals. Now, when you look at all the records in Cristiano Ronaldo's arsenal, 3 goals in 3 World Cups is kind of pathetic when you compare him to the likes of the Linekers, of the original Ronaldo, of course, of Miroslav Klose, of all people, ultimate goal scorer of all time in the World Cup, Miroslav Klose. You think 3 in 3 World Cups is actually very bad, and it is, because Messi scored, I'm pretty sure Messi has 8 or 9 World Cup goals now. For Argentina, which puts him, up there with the best in the World Cup history. It's regarded, if you score 10 or more goals in the World Cup, you are one of the greatest of all time. And every single player who's done that is regarded as a legend in their own right. I think Messi is going to achieve that in this World Cup. Could this be his last World Cup? I don't think so. Because he's younger than Ronaldo, I think I see him being the sort of the legend on the bench, if you will. A 35-year-old, 36-year-old, however old he'll be at the time, he'll be on the bench. Ronaldo, we talk about how he's staying at Real Madrid and all that. He's 33 years old at the end of the day. And he's going to have to retire sooner or later, but is he seriously, are these guys seriously going to be able to make it to another World Cup, a fifth World Cup? You know, I think because they were so young when they made their debuts in the World Cup, I think it's possible. I think it's more possible for Messi than Ronaldo, but yeah. So I kind of been going on tangents because I love talking about Messi and Ronaldo, because although there's obviously every day there are hundreds of heated debates, who's better, is it Messi, is it Ronaldo, I think we can both agree that Lionel Messi is the best. He is the best little guy in football. Cristiano Ronaldo is the best all-round player. He has scored more headers than Messi. He has scored with both feet more than Messi. He's scored more free kicks than Messi. He's better at penalties than Messi. He has scored far more extravagant goals than Messi has in his career. Ronaldo is, you know what it's like. It's like the 2014 World Cup adverts, if anyone's seen them. The little Nike or Adidas cartoons where they had like Luis and Ronaldo and all that, and they were being replaced by the perfect footballer. Yeah? Well, in this case, Lionel Messi is Cristiano Ronaldo is this perfect footballer. He has everything. He's got this perfect balance, he's got pace, he's got power, he's got precision. Ronaldo is what you want in a professional, in a footballer. Hands down. And in the video, even though they were, awesome, because they were programmed to win, the original players with that extra little bit, that extra flair, were still able to beat them in the end. And those people, is Lionel Messi. Lionel Messi is an underdog. He's been the underdog since his issues with growth since he was a child, which Barcelona helped him with. And by God, he's repaid the favour to them. Lionel Messi is a god in his own right, but I think if you're going to compare them, I think Cristiano Ronaldo has proved more times that he's better than Lionel Messi. Messi's proved that he is a god at Barcelona. Ronaldo proved that he was an inspiration at Sporting Lisbon, that he was the world's best player at Manchester United, and then the world's best player at Real Madrid. Different sets of players, different managers, different football, and he's still the best player in the world. That, for me, is the major defining factor in the difference between Ronaldo and Messi. And obviously this year's Ballon d'Or, whoever wins it, it's number 6. And they're both, you could argue, they're going to go in the decline. We've been saying this for years. Well, actually, people have been saying it for years. I haven't, because I maintain that the ultimate peak age for a footballer is 32 or 33. It's true. Ronaldo's at that peak, he's brilliant. Robin at that age, brilliant. Ribéry at that age, brilliant. Ibrahimovic at that age, unstoppable. Messi, a way to hit that age, he is already unstoppable. I think Ronaldo is at the peak. He is at the pinnacle. He has the ultimate body control, and you know what? It doesn't matter if he slows down, because of his body control and his power. He can just compensate. I mean, he already did at Real Madrid, at Man United. He was a winger at Man United. Now he's a central striker who usually stands offside half the time, and then just waits to be played onside and then score. I mean, it is just flawless professionalism. The positioning, the awareness. Ronaldo is the best player in the world. Messi has the extra gear, though. It's like I don't know how to describe it. It's like Ronaldo's the aerial atom. He's so fast. It's so hard to beat on the. Actually, no. I'll tell you what. Ronaldo's a Formula One car. Cristiano Ronaldo is the Formula One car of cars in the football world. Lionel Messi is like the Bugatti Veyron. It's faster, but the one that's most likely to win the race because of all the other factors is the Formula One car, because Messi's got that great professionalism as well, of course, but Ronaldo is deemed the best professionalism. And people were talking about the miracle of how Messi's got 64 goals and 124 internationals for Argentina. Ronaldo's got 81 and 150. The stats are so similar. It's crazy. Um, but talking on that, like I said, we're going to talk about the game now. I'm done. I promise. I've had all the rants are over. I think Mohamed. But one last thing about the Ballon d'Or. I think Mohamed Salah, if his manager continues not to play him, he could inadvertently cost him even a third place on a Ballon d'Or sheet. And even though that doesn't sound like much, come on, to be in the top 3 players in the world, it doesn't matter if you do it 1 year. You were there that year. You'd take that with pride. You'd absolutely take that with pride. So, Argentina versus Iceland at the Autokrate Arena. Iceland are solid. Argentina are Argentina. It's going to be a matter of out-muscling Iceland. Iceland will play solid. They will give the Argentines grief. But I don't see it being anything different than 3-0. I do not see it being any different than 3-0 Argentina. Goal for Messi, maybe a headed goal from a centre-back from a set piece. And we'll say a goal from Sergio Aguero or Gonzalo Higuain. I don't see the Icelandics scoring against Argentina. And the last game, which is one of the 2 matches I can 100% guarantee you that I'm going to bring you live coverage of, is the Croatia versus Nigeria match. And by the way, whilst we talk about that, I don't want to get hate like I did yesterday for not showing the match. If I show the match, I'm subject to being sued by a lot of money. I hope you people need to seriously understand this, that when you bitch about there being no live streams, it's not your fault. It's not people's fault that they're not willing to take risks, just for a couple of thousand people to watch a football match and get charged hundreds of thousands, potentially millions in theft. It's not worth it. I mean, I'm allowed to make commentary, I'm allowed to watch the match on my own TV and give my own analysis, but I'm not allowed to show you the TV. And that's why I'm doing this. I mean, I'm probably going to choose a different game other than Fishing World. I just choose Fishing World because it's relaxing. It's like one of the few games that I can play without really focusing on, because it's a sport. Like this in FIFA, I can just play without having to really focus on it. But with FIFA, you either win or lose, so that requires more focus than this. So, Fishing Planet, by far best game to play for making videos for me anyway. It might suck as a bit of a background, but the important stuff is happening over the microphone. So yes, coverage. That's what you're going to get from me. You're going to get live analysis, you're going to get stats, I'm going to tell you what's going on, I'm going to tell you who's playing shite, I'm going to tell you potential rumours, players who just... I'm not just going to call the match and be boring. People need to understand this about my commentary. My commentary is not far different from what you would expect on ITV, BBC, Sky Sports, whatever. In fact, some people can pull out more stats out of the hat because that's what they're getting paid to do, and like I said, I'm not getting paid, so I'll put in effort, but I'm not putting in that much effort. Otherwise, I'll just go mad putting in too much effort into something which isn't going anywhere. And I'll put emphasis on that because I would love to do this. I would love to do football commentary. I would love to talk about sport. I'd love to be an analysis guy. But you just can't get noticed these days. And it's very unlikely that anyone's going to hear this particular part of this video. I know someone's already tuned in and tuned out, so... But at least the videos will be there to watch, and if people are interested in the World Cup, then they will come. Croatia versus Nigeria. No idea who's going to start. But I predicted a Croatian win. and I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to stick with the Croat win. I can't tell you what it's going to be until I see the starting 11. Um, I guess the only real thing left to talk about is the games that already happened. I was kind of happy with the first couple of games, as far as predictions went, because it wasn't just a matter of I found, you know, it wasn't just a matter of points. It is a matter of money. There is money up for stakes if you get these predictions bang on. And I haven't had any predictions bang on yet. I have predicted some things correctly, like I predicted that the Russians would beat Saudi Arabia and that the Saudi Arabians would receive the most free kicks. I was right that the Russians won. I was right that the Saudis won more free kicks. However, of course, the game was 5-0 rather than the 2-1 I predicted at the start. Friday was a very, very, very irritating day until the evening. And the reason it was irritating is because Egypt didn't play Mohamed Salah. And I made the prediction that Mohamed Salah was going to be the first player to score. And then, of course, when it came to actually making the prediction and I seen he's on the bench, well, I went, well, I don't know who's going to be the opening goal scorer now. So then I just threw out a guess and I said Jose Maria Jimenez, the centre back of Uruguay. And of course, whole game 0-0, 0-0. This is annoying me. Half time 0-0. I'm worried at that point because I predicted a 3-1 win for Uruguay, and if it's 0-0 at half time, that looks pretty unlikely. 89 minutes in, at the end, Jose Maria Jimenez scores for Uruguay. Uruguay win, Jimenez gets the goal, I get points. Because I predicted that Uruguay would win, even though I once again, though, got the result wrong. The game which annoyed me as someone watching football, as someone who had a prediction on, was Morocco versus Iran. Morocco should have dominated, and I mean dominated Iran. I put down Morocco would win 2-0, but after watching the game, I was like, well, Morocco's going to win this by about 3 or 4. Iran are all over the place, and Morocco are constantly pumping balls in. And you know what? The quality just never got any better from Morocco. They had the right idea, they had the right places, but they were awful. The execution was awful. The crosses were terrible. The shots were worse. And of course, the goal in the end, own goal, the last minute of the game, for a win for Iran. Yeah, that's right. Last minute own goal. If you weren't there, Iran beat Morocco. Iran, who have no real players of interest, if I'm not mistaken. Hang on. I just want to briefly check the teams. Yep. The Iranian, there's not a single player in the Iranian team that plays in a major league contest. And then you've got Morocco, who have got the Amrabats, they've got Benatia, they've got Hakimi, they've got Basoufa, they've got Ziyech, they've got Belanda, they've got Bouladous, the guy who scored the own goal. They should have won that game without a single doubt. And it is embarrassing. It is completely embarrassing that Iran were able to beat them after what had happened previously in the match. Well, I think I'm pretty good talking about those. We've covered the good results. Obviously, I talked to you about how amazing the Spain-Portugal game was. If you didn't see it, just watch the highlights. You don't need to watch the whole game to see how good it was. You will see all 6 goals in 3 minutes. It was such a game. So much talent on display. It wasn't a matter of just 2 good teams. It was individual talent on display as well. It was brilliant. Ronaldo with the hat-trick, easily man of the match, but the best player for me on the pitch, like with dribbling, with passing, was Isco. Isco was a fantastic player. He played so well against Portugal yesterday and was very unlucky not to score. Very unlucky. Well, yeah, I guess I will see you guys until I do the live coverage of the Peru Denmark match. Before that, hopefully, the Argentina Iceland match. And join me on later tonight for the Croatia versus Nigeria match. That's these all of them are going to be very very interesting. But I still don't know which way to go sometimes with some of them. You know, I did predict Croatia should beat Nigeria, but Nigeria do have some serious counter-attacking threat because we talk about that. Croatia aren't going to be playing counter-attacking football at all. You know, they are not a counter-attacking team. They're going to want to try and dominate the midfield because their two main central midfielders are two dominant, funnily enough, ball playing, ball winning midfielders, Luka Modric, Ivan Rakitic, which, you know, is probably the best central midfield pairing in the World Cup. You know, when you think about it, when you look at the Spanish, you think Busquets, Koke, yeah, they're brilliant, but I think Modric is one of the best centre midfielders to ever graced football. I think Ivan Rakitic is just, you know, Luka Modric point one. No, point is Modric point two. You know, they work well together. They're always in the Euros. They're always in the World Cups. Croatia are a threat. They're always an underlying threat, but they have to perform and they have to sort out major defensive issues, which is difficult when one of your centre backs is Dejan Lovren. Uh, but yeah, Nigeria, however, Victor Moses. Any other Nigerian players I can think of counter-attacking? Odi and Ikalo. Oh yeah, bloody hell! I can't believe I forgot about Ikalo. He's such a quick player. Such a quick player. The best player in Nigeria's team, though, I think, for being solid, from my experience, he was solid, although he never scored any goals. John Obi Mikel. So much experience from Chelsea. Now in China, one of the highest regarded midfielders in China. Well, if he wasn't, then he was definitely it was definitely worth selling. I don't think Chelsea will regret selling him because I think Kante is better. But John Obi Mikel, the likes of Victor Moses, if he's in the team, Emenike up front, of course, the youngster Kelechi Iheanacho. Nigeria have people for you to worry about. You should never rule out Nigeria. So although I said Croatia should win this game, Nigeria are going to battle tooth and nail in every single match because they will believe they have a fighting chance. All the African teams never sit down and accept what's going to happen like Asian teams sometimes can. They're very very resolute compared to that, and it shows. You know, by God, it shows. And I think it would be very nice to see an African team make it to the knockouts. I think out of all of the leagues and all the position, Senegal might be in one of the best positions to do it. Maybe Poland with them. It's going to be an interesting year. This World Cup is going to be anything but boring. The opening day we had 5-0. Iran have won a match, and Cristiano Ronaldo, even though he only scored 3 goals in 3 World Cups, has scored 3 goals in this World Cup after one match. Actually, yes, I remember now. That's where I trailed off ages ago when I was talking about Lionel Messi. That's why I was making the comparison. Lionel Messi has those goals in the World Cup. In fact, I tell you what, we're going to start doing the research, right? Because this is no longer about effort and what the fans get and all that. This is my curiosity as well. World Cup goal scorers. Right, so let's have a look. Come on, he must be on here. Has he seriously not scored that many goals in the world? Okay, well, I'm scanning down the list of goal scorers, and I cannot. Oh, I see. Oh wait, this thing is ruined. This is such a bad. Oh right, it's 5. Okay. Oh, that is not as many as I was expecting. Okay. Well, I said that Lionel Messi probably had more World Cup goals than Ronaldo. I was wrong. After that hat trick, Ronaldo actually has one more than Messi. That's crazy. I would have wholeheartedly expect Lionel Messi to have at least 8 or 9 goals, not 5. That's you talk about Cristiano Ronaldo flopping in the World Cup. That's pretty pathetic from Lionel Messi when you think about it. Um, is there any other big names we should really be watching? The only player who can really make some history today in this World Cup is Thomas Muller. Muller, he's still in his 20s. He's been to 2 World Cups and he has scored 10 goals. If he can score 6 goals in this World Cup, he will match Miroslav Klose as the greatest of all time. And remember, Klose was in 4 World Cups and to score those 16. Muller has 10 in 2. So if he keeps up that stats, Thomas Muller could end up with 20 World Cup goals. Seems unlikely, but come on. When you've got Germany playing behind you, nothing's impossible. So we're going to end with that statistic that Thomas Muller has potential to make history with Germany after all the brilliant football we're going to witness today. I'll bring you back with the coverage. It's going to be awesome to see what's going to happen, particularly in the Argentina match. Like I said, Lionel Messi, no pressure, but your rival's just gone and banged a hat-trick in against Spain. So good luck, and we'll talk to you later.